Uh-oh. Hold up. Oh God. Fucking give me 1 second. Good God Almighty. So yeah, we have mm. Well, there we go. Yeah, so my Stream Deck software was updating for some fucking reason, and I wonder if it even works at the moment. There. Oh yeah, yeah, it definitely works. Cool. And what is this? There we go. Ah, that's a shirt. Well, thank you all for bearing with me there. Yeah, like a rough morning for the kid. I woke up and fucking pretty intense neck and back pain from lifting weights. I just wanted to shout out to AIDS in the radio chat, who says, on a serious note, I'm not sure why I still come here. It's gotten to be about as stupid and vicious as the rest of the world I'm so desperate to escape. It was a refuge, but it's not anymore, and you guys allow it. The fuck is that guy talking about? Like, one, why would you ever come to that channel to try and escape the world? It's the meanest place on FNet. So mean. So mean. Right? And it's even meaner because it's not just like Fight Club where people are, just calling each other the N-word like nonstop and other tomfoolery, right? It's not that kind of mean. It's mean because we care, but we're also mean, like one on top of each other. So yeah, apparently AIDS has been coming through drunk for the last couple of years. Yeah, as a gay man with HIV, he has a lot of reasons to drink. So just putting it out there. That's not a fun experience. Like slowly dying, um, being reliant on a cocktail of pills to uh, make it fucking happen. What's going on in this whole thing there? Uh, hope he pulls through without harm. So this has been going down for weeks. Apparently, we'll wait. Who is this woman? I don't know who that lady is, Jira, but it looks like there's a bag of chicken next to her. Mm. I think also he was really mad that Karen moved into his gentrified city neighborhood with her shitty brood stroller. Wow, I love the sound of that whole line is great. I love just dismissing basic bitches as Karens and that they get really mad about it. Oh, did I say a couple of years? Well, to be honest, he's been doing that for a couple of years now. Yeah, I don't know. AIDS is the kind of person who can't be super happy unless there's some drama and he's involved in it. And the drama continually boots him out of social groups that he's in. Other people, some directly above your nickname right now, Spathiwa, have similar problemos. And it's just one of those parts of life. I tell you what, I'm going to blow my nose so I don't sound like a fucking honk, 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 honk clown the whole time. I'll be right back. That is a little bit better. Yeah, I feel. You know what I'm noticing is that this chair that we have over here is a little bit too high for the kid, and that's why I'm like hunching over. I may have to swap out this beloved chair for something a little bit different for the duration of our stream. I don't know. I can make it happen a different way, but yeah, definitely my posture at this table for the last 37 days hasn't been great. Although I probably just hurt my back lifting weights. So well, I hope you're excited. We're growing ever closer to having like we're drawing ever closer to being halfway done with this book, and just a short 37 days, 90,000 words in. Good God Almighty! I want to thank. Wait, what do we got on? Edit me to sleep. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I want to apologize to Sejay for relaying her chats from Meep Crew to the other channel. I know there's supposed to be some kind of fucking attorney-client privilege in there, but I would never in a million years miss an opportunity to super slam Jigsaw, and in such a regard. I think that comment was so funny that I linked it in 20 other channels. It was perfect, and yeah, if you hang out with me and you say shit around me, if I can say something really, really funny out of the shit that you have told me, I'm gonna say it. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a performer. I can't pass up those opportunities any more than I can kill myself or suck my own dick. So what do we got today? We got Nitro Beverage Co.'s coconut cold brew. I'm a big fan of coconuts in general. So just the dude trying to ruin your life. Yeah, I don't know which dude that is in the chat or whatever. And Cat needs to let it go. You know, it's been long enough. So so it was some girl at a con that hopefully Jira got a chance to bone. But yeah, coconuts are the truth. All right, so let's see where we're at with the story. If you never tuned into the stream before, you are in for a treat. This is a sapiosexual romance. I think how we're feeling it now. Yeah, it's super woke. Speaking of super woke, part of what we're going to be editing today is a dream sequence. And the dream sequence is going. We broke in some of the rules in our dream sequence, and we have to get to it. Yeah, I don't care about that guy. Oh shoot. So yeah, on the other stream, we're doing a rap contest. Yeah, I just saw MVS in the Int80 Discord, or not Discord. Fucking, they're a Slack. But yeah, he's about to watch the rap contest video. I thought it was a good rap contest. We really like the quality of the raps that we're receiving has much improved, and I think it was a well-earned victory for Big Eraser. Eraser was making some noise about coming through, and like rolling up here to Brooklyn today. I don't know if he's still planning on doing that or what. We would have a bunch of work to do to convert the studio from this editing studio into a radio studio, but we're gonna make it happen. So let's get down to it. So this is Gravid. It's the story of a young woman who's become very depressed in the wake of the death of her father, and she decides to fix this problemo by killing herself, which is an okay solution. You know, I'm not taking it away from anybody who wants to blast themselves. I think it's an okay solution, but it is a permanent solution to what's generally a temporary problem. So we want to get down into that. That's one of the things that we're examining with this book. Whether or not suicide is truly painless, or whether it just brings on many changes. And waking up this morning, I feel like I'm still half caught in the veil of a dream. Like I haven't fully decided whether I want to be in the dream world or in the real world. And to the point of that, we're going to skip reading through all this stuff here, and we're going to go straight into this dream sequence. Because the dream sequence is what we want to work on. And I think it's coming through, you know, the way I always try to put it is writing should be effortless effort. The writing needs to flow out of you, much like urine. If you are forcing it, it's much like forcing it while you're taking a shit. It will break off halfway. Shit will get all over you. you will be bleeding out your ass for some number of weeks. No, really, really poetic description there. But no, it's a thing that can't be forced. And I think it's easy to tell forced writing where somebody wants to communicate something and they're trying. And one thing we learn is that you can't try. But what do we got? Is that Chad right there? Is that Chad from the MK Ultra, real MK Ultra server? I hope so, because that guy's a real one, a real crazy one, but a real one just the same. So what's happening in this scene is that Dr. Garbuglio, her therapist, is attempting to do kind of like a almost hypnosis type visualization exercise, and she slips into a full-blown hallucination rather than participating in the exercise. So we can't start directly in the dream, even though I've pierced the veil. We need to go a little bit back. Now let's see. Part of the process. Nearly everyone experiences that. It's part of the process. It's okay to feel that way. Not that crazy. Not crazy enough to edit novels. Real. Nearly everyone experiences that. It's part of the process, and I promise you, it will pass. Oh my god, yeah, I'm like twisted here. I didn't even drink that much last night. Nearly everyone experiences that. It's a part of the process, and I promise you, it will pass. I'd like to do an exercise with you. Let's see. Let me see. No, I'm like, I'm trying to fix this fucking chapter. I don't need the lines wrecked any worse. Nearly everyone experiences that. It's a part of the process, and I promise you, it will pass. I'd like to do an exercise with you that may help. It will almost certainly be painful, but patients often make progress afterward. Do you feel up to it? Freya hesitated, wondering if she was about to propose electrical shock or primal scream therapy. Freya hesitated, wondering if Dr. Garbuglio was about to propose something weird, like primal scream or electroshock. Yes, Freya said at last. It couldn't be too bad. Yes, Freya agreed at last. It couldn't be too bad. She had the starball after all. Okay, I'm going to get into some painful memories involving your father. I would like you to take as long as you need to. We're going to get outside of your, I would like you to take as long as you need to with this exercise. We're going to get outside of your comfort area. If we go too far, just raise a hand and I'll stop right away. It's totally okay to halt. It doesn't. It's totally okay to raise your hand for any reason. It doesn't mean you're weak. Okay? Okay, Freya agreed. I want you to think about how you've felt the last few months. Think about the times when it's been particularly difficult to cope, especially something we might not have had a chance to discuss in our sessions. They were silent as Freya went along with the exercise. She was thinking about sobbing against the desk in Mr. Manzini's class, failure welling up all around her. Her pocket grew warm. She fought the urge to slip her hand into it and touch the star ball. She could feel tightness in her chest, the sensation of plunging into fog. Mm. Yeah, the speaker should not sound normal. Therapists do not sound like normal and conversational when they're talking to you. Is my experience interviewing a bunch of people about therapy, because they're like performative right here. They're not. It's not like though therapy is conversational based. The words that people get to use are not normal conversational words. They can't say exactly what's on their mind. They have to heavily modulate what they're saying. So hopefully, it's been so hard, she said. It's been so hard, Freya whispered. Her voice was a tiny thing, floundering in the air between them. 3 deep breaths, Dr. Garboglio instructed. Take your time. You're in a safe place. It's okay to feel. She took the 3 breaths. In one of our early sessions, you talked about waking up each morning and wishing your father's death had been a dream. And believing your father's death had been a dream. You described the sadness you felt realizing he was gone. I would like you to think about that. The words hung between them, and she had a sensation of vertigo. Did you know this? On day 7, this novel was 759 pages long, and so we've added nearly 20 pages. Just in additions, here I've only rewritten like 1 or 2 things where we've added more than a page or so. It's mostly just additions and clarifications that we're adding here. So, wow, Spathy with the diss in the other chat. Posted to misconnections. It's a tough one, man. 3 deep breaths, Dr. Garboglio instructed. Take your time. You're in a safe place. It's okay to feel. She took the 3 breaths. In one of our early sessions, you talked about waking up each morning and we didn't take out that. You talked about waking up and believing your father's death had been a dream. You described the sadness you felt realizing he was actually gone. I would like you to think about that. The words hung between them, and Freya had a sensation of vertigo, as if the walls were receding into the distance, and she was shrinking into an insignificance. Freya had an urge to get up and leave the room. She didn't want to walk down this path. It's not irrational to get up and leave the room at that point. It's actually very rational. I don't want to think about that, Freya admitted. Dr. Garboglio's eyes were on her hand. Dr. Garboglio's eyes were on her hand, ready for Freya to bail out. I know it hurts sometimes. I know it hurts to remember some of these things, and that's expected. Some things have to hurt, Dr. Garboglio said. Thinking about those mornings triggered a cascade of other memories Freya didn't want to think about. The pictures on the corkboard map, the secret calendar, the layer of dust on the pickup truck. The layer of dust accumulating on the pickup truck. She had a petulant feeling. Freya had a She had a petulant feeling that this was sadistic and unfair. She was only 16, and Dr. Garboglio was a grown man. He was driving her towards somewhere she didn't want to be. Worse, he knew exactly what he was doing, wielding the thing she'd confided in him like a scalpel. You're doing fine. Take all the time you need, he said, and she wanted to scream, but she let the air hiss out between her teeth. Do you want to keep going? Dr. Garbuglio asked, and she made herself nod, though she didn't want to. Dr. Garbuglio asked, and Freya made herself nod, though she didn't want to. Those feelings are a link between you and the memory of your father. Dr. Garbuglio was speaking very slowly, as if he were a magician invoking a spell. Each feeling is like a ribbon, tying you to that memory. I want you to visualize that ribbon. It can be any color you want. We're going to visualize slowly untying the ribbon. Close your eyes. Heat was thrumming in her pocket from the star ball. It wasn't calming her down like before. She was getting more upset by the moment. Dr. Garbuglio was staring at her, expecting. Expectant. Freya shut her eyes, and the office slipped away. Okay, cool. I feel like that comes across fairly sinister, which I like. I like that there's some aspects of malice floating through his dialogue with her. But now we get to the next part, and the next part is where we want to really look at the work that each of our words are doing here, and try to clean this up a little bit. I felt like there were several labored similes, and this is a spot where I could really use feedback from our modest audience here. If you see something that you're just not buying it because it's too much and it's like too ham-fisted or whatever, let me know. And I'm gonna be cleaning up some of the same fucking excesses that we have here. There were no ribbons. Freya stood on a cliff. There were no ribbons. Freya stood on a cliff, overlooking a vast blue-green ocean. There was nothing between her and the horizon but the swells of the sea. 1,000 feet below, the waves roared as they crashed against the cliff. A 1,000 feet below, waves crashed against the rocks. The smell of salt was in the air. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She searched for some sign of. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was no sign of Dr. Garbuglio or his office. The sky was a featureless blue wash, and the sun was a frozen pinprick. The sun was only a frozen pinprick. Its corona was oily and indistinct. Freya waited for an answer. The pitiful sun swept across the day. The pitiful sun swept across the sky at an unsettling arc, as if it meant to burn through the whole day in an hour's time. The shadows were wrong. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hold on. So this is where it's too much. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Edit ASMR. So, yeah, honestly, I could be doing all this with one of the studio microphones, picking up like all the sounds of the keys and like the bubbling of the La Croix over there. And I'm thinking about getting a one of those tower cold brew makers so you could just hear each drop of water. Bloop, 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 bloop. So we really could get into the ASMR racket. But Freya waited for an answer. The pitiful sun swept across the sky at it. Mm-hmm. So pitiful is too much, right? When we start working through this. So what we want is something like weak, paltry. That's it. I love it. The paltry sun swept across the sky in an unsettling arc, as if it meant to burn through the whole day in an hour's time. I have to wear headphones because listening to Edit Stream with a subwoofer legit makes me sleepy. Well, a lot of that is going to be the proximity effect from being very close to the microphone. One of the reasons the RE20 is such a good broadcast mic is because it has a significant proximity effect, which is an increase of bass response as the speaker gets closer to the microphone. So, like, not all of that is me. I have like I guess I'm like a tenor in real life. Not a 10 out of 10, but more closer to like a tenor in singing. Were I able to sing than a like baritone or a bass or anything like that. I think. I don't know. Like somebody could definitely analyze the other show and tell you. Yeah, it's funny how like
My broadcast voice is a little bit different than the editing voice. Uh, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Freya waited for an answer. The paltry sun swept across the sky in an unsettling arc, as if it meant to burn through the whole day in an hour's time. Time-lapse shadows flickered. Uh, Time-lapse shadows flickered in its wake. So time-lapse is hyphenated, but I don't want it hyphenated. I want it to be one word. Um, yeah, because there's a difference in a pronunciation between time-lapse and time-lapse. I don't know if you can hear that, but they're both definitely different. All right, what flag has oh, it's money. Nice. Wait, did somebody send us some payola on this thing here? Let me go to the Streamlabs dashboard and we can find out. I didn't see it. Let's I'm gonna log in with that YouTube or whatever. Oh wait, I'm already fucking there. Let's take a gander. Oh, we'd have to redo the whole thing. Whatever. I didn't see it. Um, but I digress. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put any donations or Patreon we get here into a coffee maker. It's an investment. Oh, Logic made a joke about a tenor. Yeah, yeah. It's funny how those two are homophones, but no homophone. But oh my god, what if every time you made a pun, you were like, "Yeah, no homophone, bro." Oh, oh, that's awful. I just think you should be horsewhipped for even thinking that. So Freya waited for an answer. The paltry sun swept across the sky in an unsettling arc, as if it meant to burn through the whole day in an hour's time. Time-lapse shadowed flickered around her. Oh, I don't. We just can't do the time. Yeah. As the little sun slid behind her, Freya was swallowed by an enormous shadow. She had been ignoring something massive at her back all this time. Okay, so I like that a little better. So I think we were just trying to shoehorn in too much with like that whole shadow thing. Oh shit! Look at
Fine,
this
here's
tenor.
a tenor.
Thank you for the coffee funds. Hell yeah. So far to date, the stream has made $110 just by being real. Shout out to Spathy right there. I have got to get you those Rapasaurus files. But I think today I did most of the shit that I needed to at work, so I can probably um, get away with working on Rapasaurus. Yeah, it's been crazy busy at my work. I usually don't work. I just show up and tell kids they're retarded. But not today, man. Democrats are cracking the whip lately. Let's take a look at the Colossus of Rhodes. What does this guy look like? There's a statue of Helios right here. I thought he was standing astride the strait. This is just somebody's like fanciful whatever. There we go. That's gangsta. A stone colossus stood behind her, standing astride. Oh, the standing astride the harbor thing is a modern invention. Yeah, it's something we came up with. There are a bunch of like colossal statues throughout the world, but the Colossus of Rhodes. Let's take a look at the Wikipedia. Yeah. So construction, they differ on the method. Iron tie bars to which brass plates were affixed to the skin. It stood on a 15-meter high white pedestal near the harbor entrance, then filled with stone blocks as construction progressed. Other sources placed the Colossus on a breakwater in the harbor. The statue was 108 feet tall, reforged from weapons. Upper partitions built with the use of a large earthen ramp. It took 12 years to build. Dedication is in. Let's see. It was a circular or octagonal or whatever. So it stood for 54 years until they had a big ass earthquake and snapped over and fell into the land. Few could wrap their arms around the fallen thumb, and each of its fingers was larger than most statues. The statue was melted down and sold to a Jewish merchant who loaded the bronze on 900 camels. The Arab destruction and the purported sale to a Jew originated as a powerful metaphor for Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the destruction of a great statue. Wow. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, so I agree 100%. Like, according to the historical record, you're right. It's just like a... Mhm. Jews loaded it onto 911 camels. Damn. Damn. Out here melting down the fucking Colossus. How'd they even think that they were going to get that back up? That's wild. What do we have there? Oh, God. A stone Colossus rose behind Freya, standing astride a strait. She strained against the weight at her neck to look up. The giant's ankle was as thick as a redwood, and it was bound by a shackle of pitted bronze. Chains bled vertebrae as they spiraled around the stone leg. They all met in a ring. They all met at a ring over the giant's heart. The Colossus's arms were bound behind its back, and it wore a slave's collar at its neck, 300 feet above her. So, yeah, how tall did we said it was 300? Oh, I think I did the fucking math on like if the top of its toe was like, all right, so that's, what is that? That's like an inch. Um, so yeah. Like, if the top of your toe is like an inch and Freya is like 5 feet tall, right? She's probably like 5'4" or whatever, but let's just round down a little bit to make our lives easier. And so let's say that the Colossus is 72 inches, so it'd be like 350 feet tall in that case. Just in like that quick math. But oh, okay, cool. So the 350. So I did do that math exactly that same way, probably sitting in a coffee shop, and then we 300 feet above her would just be its neck, and then it's got like another 50 feet of head. Freya realized she was a prisoner too. The tightness at her throat was a slave collar of her own. The weight pulling her head down was a leash of heavy chain. Her neck ached as she struggled to behold the face of the Colossus. One of its eyes was lost in a ruin of jagged rock. The other stared hopelessly out to sea. So, what we're, the like, eye lost and the ruin of jagged rock, is Odin, right there. Just putting out. Actually, if you look at my Reddit account, you can see that originally I was like, "Hey, did the eye patch that Odin wore have a name?" But in the Eddas, he doesn't wear an eye patch, so there's no name for it. He just walked around all day with his one eye that he plucked out in exchange for infinite knowledge. As she strained against her bonds, mm-hmm. Okay, so if we're doing, I don't think the Colossus arms. Yeah, I think the pluralization of Colossus is Colossus, like, a dark ring was expanding above the stone face. A halo of nothing that spread until the sky above was the perfect void of Freya's dreams. Colossi is invalid. Yeah, I'm aware. It'd be cool, but yeah, it just doesn't work out there. So Rumble Pez just asked, did Weinstein throw us back out from all that raping? Hell yeah. Pedantically, colossal is exactly the right word to use here. I don't think I use colossal anywhere. Uh, oh, what a missed opportunity right there. So logic says that the II is a modern faux Latinization. Yeah, fungi doesn't sound right, you know. An octopi, fucking awful pie. It's like a gimmick wording. It won't last the test of time, I think. Um, mhm, mhm. Okay, so I do want to have something about her recognizing that she's caught in this like hallucination. Um, now Freya knew she was in a dream, and she tried to wake up. Mm-hmm. Now Freya knew she was in a dream, and she tried to wake up. But like the times before, she failed. The cliff rumble beneath her fat. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. She could feel the cliff. Mm. Uh, what's unsettled? Yeah, what does an earthquake really feel like? You know that moment where the ground starts like shaking and you're like, what the fuck? You know? Like that's not supposed to happen. Mm. Deeply unsettling. Right? Yeah, but deeply unsettling is like a an adverb. Let's take a look for something that like really captures what we want. You know what I would have loved if we had started doing? It's too late now, but I'd love. Oh, I can honestly like what we can do at the end of this is we can we'll extract from our Safari history all the times that I looked things up in the thesaurus, and we'll see like how many words we just distressing, disquieting is kind of uh, yeah, I like disquieting because disquieting like unsettling we used a little bit earlier. Foreboding is kind of getting where we want to be. So somewhere between disquieting and foreboding, forsquieting, force quitting. Yeah. So we were already going to use ominous there, perturbing, distressful. Oh, I like distressing. She could feel a tremor beneath her feet, a distressed rumbling like the dream was angry at her for trying to escape. Oh, I like this a lot better. Look at all these fragments. The roar of the ocean grew louder and more insistent. She could feel the ground beneath her feet quavering. Across the straight, she could see the foundation crumbling into the sea. As Freya turned to flee, she found that her chains were bound to the statues. She balled her fist and screamed, but no sound came out. Mm. She balled her fist and screamed, but she was mute against the earthquake roar. It all fell apart. The Kala... No, I just want to use everything fell apart here. Mm. Striking the boiling water with a titanic crash. The Colossus toppled backward, striking the boiling sea with a titanic crash. Freya... Mm-hmm. It would all be over soon. Let's take that out. That's actually not a good... motive way to describe balling of fists. She balled her fist. Yeah, let's just take the fists out. She wrenched at her chains and screamed, but she was mute against the roar of the collapse. There we go. Mm-hmm. Thunderous crack across the strait. There was a thunderous crack across the strait. The foundation had split, and it was crumbling into the sea. It was all coming apart. As Freya turned to flee, she found that her chains were bound to the statues. Mm-hmm. Freya turned to flee, but the collar bit at her neck like a noose. Her chains were bound to the statues. She wrenched at them and screamed, mute against the roar of the collapse. Let me see. Bit at her neck, bit into her neck. And collar bit her neck into is better. Good correction. Freya turned to flee, but the collar bit into her neck like a noose. Her chains were bound to the statue. She wrenched at them and screamed. So she's like the ghost of Christmas Past over here. Ooh, Ebenezer. Mm. Mm. Everything fell apart. The Colossus toppled backward, striking the boiling sea with a titanic crash. Too much imagery. Mm-hmm. So let's work a little on this. She wrenched at them and screamed, mute against the roar of the collapse. Everything fell apart. The Colossus toppled backward into the sea. Everything fell apart. The Colossus toppled backward into the sea, striking. Sending plumes of spray billowing skyward. Mm. Freya was wrenched into the tempest and swallowed by dark water. There was pressure all around her, crushing the air from her lungs, stabbing at her eardrums. Everything began to slip away. The only thing she could feel Let's try to find a better crushing. Commuting, crunching, squeezing. Pulverize is fucking amazing. Compressing. There's pressure all around her, forcing the air from her lungs and stabbing at her eardrums. Flung into the tempest. Oh. Dragged is better because that's the action that we want, like the dream chains, like dragging her down. Freya was dragged down into the tempest and swallowed by dark water. There was pressure all around her, forcing the air from her lungs, stabbing at her eardrums. And soon all she could feel was a distant heat. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, maybe we should flash this back a little bit to the river. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me stop and think for a second here. Oh. Oh, neck pain. You hurting a nigga. All right, what do we got here? What I'm trying to get to here is I want a bridge between not being able to breathe in the dream and not being able to breathe in real life. And pounding in the crushing darkness. Mm-hmm. Pounding in the pounding in the crushing darkness, my secret gay hobby. Hell yeah. I think it's a little generous to describe that as a secret, Spathy. Whoa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let's go back to fucking we gotta go way back here, right? I want to use some of the so we're trying to go to 361. Uh let's do X361. Okay. So let's go way back, like Roy Rogers, and slow down. Oh, there we go. Starball, would it matter what time? Okay, so this is where the original garage scene. And let's go back a little bit to find the spot where she is actually drowning. All the way in chapter 5. Okay, so one thing here is like the way that the river water feels in her nose, which is weird. Okay, so she never really gets to the point where she feels like she's drowning. So river carried her a long way. Burst of adrenaline. What does she remember from this? Just sobbing with every breath. Her water was streaming off of her. Teeth were chattering. Okay. There you go. Control Command G to go to any page in Pages. Ooh, that's useful. I just got to remember that. Let's try that. Control Command G. Oh, cool. That's gangsta. I shot up her nose and flooded her mouth, tasting of the river. Hmm. It was in her nose, in her mouth, the black water of the Silas River. There was pressure all around her, forcing the air from her lungs, stabbing at her eardrums. Sinking into the crushing darkness, Freya knew it wasn't a dream. She couldn't breathe. She was dying. She couldn't breathe. She was dying. Mm-hmm. Freya, Freya, Freya. Dr. Garbuglio's voice. Mm, so sobbing uncontrollably is almost a cliche. Furiously, heatedly, passionately, tensely, frenziedly, tempestuously, energetically, impatiently. Yeah, that's one of anytime that you see like something becomes no. Uh-huh. Hysterically fits well. So hysterically fits perfectly, but remember that we're in her point of view, right? So when have you ever thought, "Oh, I'm hysterical right now"? Never. So unfortunately, it's like a good word. This is like a great word to describe what's happening, but it's a word that he could use to describe her, but one that someone would almost never. You would almost never describe yourself as being hysterical, right? You see where I'm coming from with that? So we're not removing it to appease the cat-loving women that hopefully will buy this book. We're removing it because it's just not. Nobody ever thinks of themselves as hysterical, right? Does that argument hold water with you? We'll see. Okay. Ooh, it's a hard fucking chapter. Like the rewrite, you can hear when I get all like tense and quiet, and I'm like, oh. That's a hard chapter, man. That is not easy to get right. Mm. So we're gonna have to go through this whole dream sequence here. It's too heavy, Freya wept, sobbing and sobbing until she had nothing to get left to give. She could still feel the weight on her neck. The pain in her ears. The vision had been so much deeper than any dream she'd had before. She could still taste the river. Taste the river. With me, right here. 7 deep breaths, Dr. Garboglio commanded, gesturing from his eyes to hers. His voice was tight with worry. You're not drowning. You're right here with me. That was very intense. We're going to take a little time to recover, okay? Ooh, I just had like an idea. Like what if like she spontaneously started to bruise from the effort of the dream? We can't do it, right? But just in my mind, I had like this idea of like this bruise kind of spontaneously forming. Um and sobbing psychoneurotically. Hell yeah. um yeah, I had this idea of this bruise like spontaneously forming before his eyes and him being like, what the fuck? And then being worried that people would think that he was choking her out during a bout of, uh, whatever. But like, that's not where we're going with this. It's just a fun vision. It's the kind of thing if I were not on stream, I'd be like, well, let's try this out and like try to write it in there. But no, that's too weird. With me, right here. 7 deep breaths, Dr. Garboglio commanded, gesturing from his eyes to hers. His voice was tight with worry. You're not drowning. You're right here with me. That was very intense. We're going to take time to recover, okay? We're going to take some time to recover, okay? He reached out and grabbed her. He reached out and So this is also like a this is going to be the first time that that psychiatrist has made any physical contact with her outside of outside of like maybe like a handshake or something like that. Um, so uh, His voice leveled out as he spoke, but Freya noticed his other hand was shaking. Her thigh stung. Had the starball actually burned her? It took a long time until she could... There's other almost good words like irrepressible sobbing. I think we just took that out, right? Yeah. I like sobbing and sobbing better than I like hysterical sobbing or uncontrollable sobbing. I like that a little bit better. And yeah, I like that a little bit better. And this is like such a tough chapter, and this is a point where I really feel, and kind of I guess appropriately, like we're a little out of our depth here. And this is one where I feel like we'll definitely benefit from the pass where a professional takes a gander at it right here, because I'm trying, and I think we've improved it somewhat and everything, but a lot of this is just I feel like too much or whatever. So we'll take another pass at it tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not sure that we have. This is definitely not our finished product right here. It took a long time until... Ooh, I like this. I like this addition right here where he's like, what the fuck was that? You know? Yeah. I really like that. Progress, Dr. Garbuglio said. He was trying to sound confident, but in his face, Freya could still see remnants of unease. Whatever she'd done during the hallucination had unnerved him. You're starting to work through some of the feelings you couldn't before. The difficulty you had in class was the same kind of thing. It hurts, but you're facing up to it anyway. You're very, very brave, Freya. She shut her eyes, and the image of the Colossus lingered. Was that her or the starball? It's too big for me, Freya said. I feel so small. It's too big for anyone to deal with alone. A little bit at a time. You're getting there. You're doing amazing. Just remember this is a process. Take as much time as you need to work through what you felt today. We can talk about it whenever you feel ready. Dr. Garbuglio's voice was soothing. She was thankful he was here. The vision of the Colossus was the worst of her nightmares so far. It had been more than just in her... The vision of the Colossus was the worst. Did we use hallucination above? I don't think we did. I can only think of fancy improvements today. Yeah, like honestly, we're not. One of the reasons why was some of these things we're going back and re-editing. Like it's okay to be cognizant of. I just can't quite hit it today. You know what I mean? And to make like the minor improvements that are necessary, to make like a few structural improvements, and know that you're going to need another pass with this. And there are a lot of times where we're almost there, but we need like a little bit more time, and you need like a little bit more distance to work out for it. When writing chapters, this is something that will come up frequently, like where you want to hit a note, but you don't quite have the right idea, so you try something, and something about the effort of trying one way and failing makes you see, oh, like maybe I'll try this, right? His face betrayed his unease. Let's take a look there. Ooh, I like that. But his face betrayed unease. Whatever she'd done during the exercise had unnerved him. Whatever she'd done had. Much better. Ooh, I love that. Yeah, that's a great edit right there. You're very brave, Freya. Yeah, there is that hesitation. So that comment does need to be there. What happened? She asked at last. Progress, Dr. Garboglio said. He was trying to sound confident, but his face betrayed unease. Something she'd done while she was dreaming had unnerved him. So I like using it as a dream there, and then as she's considering it, she's like, "This is like more than just a nightmare. I'm hallucinating." It felt like more than a dream. Was that her or the star ball? Okay, and this needs to be a new paragraph because we have a new speaker. It felt like more than a dream, and Freya wondered if she was going crazy or if this was the star ball. It's too big for me, Freya said. I feel so small. Okay, and like, it's too big for me. I've heard that so many times, IRL. Oh, that is like one of the best "that's what she said" moments of all time. Oh, did I take one of these fucking Niagens already? Fuck, I can't remember. I don't think so. I don't think this shit is doing anything. But I may soon regret it if I already took one of these dumb pills. Yeah. I don't think it's doing anything, Spathy. I think Spotty sold us although there was one day where I was like, damn, I'm bursting with energy. And like, I'm not a good test case because I drank so much coffee. Okay, so not that I saw. Not on stream? Okay. Yeah, I would have definitely taken it on stream. It definitely seems to be improving your memory. Oh, God. Yeah, we're just basically taking snake oil here. But whatever. You know, like, there's therapeutic benefits to the placebo, whatever. I don't know. We'll see on the stream tonight, right? So we'll take a gander. All right. And take a look. I don't know what's going on there. It's too big for anyone to deal with alone. Uh-huh. A little bit at a time. You're getting there. You're doing amazing. Just remember this is a process. Take as much time as you need to work through what you felt today. We can talk about it whenever you're ready. Dr. Garboglio's voice was soothing. Freya was thankful she was here. The vision of the Colossus was the worst of the nightmares so far. This was more than just her imagination running away with her. It was a full-blown hallucination. For a moment, Freya wanted to tell Dr. Garboglio what had happened, but she felt so raw and hurt. She was afraid if she started talking, everything would come spilling out. She would tell him about the star ball, the river, about everything. She knew how that would end, drugged up in a hospital. So I take astaxanthin, vitamin K2, 3, and J147. I don't feel anything, but they demonstrably do those things. A little bit at a time. You're getting there. Going to use that IRL. Thanks, Dr. Garbo. So originally I was going to call him Dr. Garboglius, but I thought it sounded too stupid. We can extend this. Okay, for a moment, Freya wanted to tell Dr. Garboglio about the nightmare, but she felt so raw and hurt. She was afraid if she started talking, everything would come spilling out. She would tell him about the star ball, about the river, about everything. She knew how that would end. Locked up in a mental hospital, drugged out of her mind. We can extend this session if you need to. Today was, Our time is nearly up, but we can extend this session if you need to. Today was a big step, Dr. Garboglio offered. Freya considered it. There was a coolness spreading through her thoughts, one she had come to associate with the starball pacifying her. I like the use of pacify there. Had she really made progress? She probed at her feelings like a tongue working at a loose tooth. The dread was deeply rooted, but she thought she could feel a little give to it. I think I'm okay, she said. I think this helped. Thank you. Sorry if I got a little dramatic there. Dr. Garboglio nodded. She'd hoped the little joke would disarm him, but he still looked concerned. Yeah, that's where she's like, sorry if I'm a little dramatic. And he's still like, bitch, what the fuck is you doing? That's crazy. I think I'm okay. Yeah, we really need to come up with whether we're going to capitalize. I know I made like some bullshit about this earlier, but we really need to make up our minds when we're going to capitalize okay. And I think this morning, I feel like I just want okay to be uncapitalized. I know it's not consistent throughout the book, but I also don't want to address it right now. So that's a good note. That's something we should think about later. What are we at time-wise? 7:43. Dr. Garboglio nodded. She'd hoped the little joke would disarm him, but he still looked concerned. Here's something I'd like you to think about. These powerful emotions aren't just there to make you suffer. They're also a kind of strength. The difficulty you have letting go is a sign of how powerful your bonds with your father were. Let's look for another word there. Oh, you know what we'll do? So I just didn't want to have powerful twice. These profound emotions aren't just there to make you suffer. They're also a kind of strength. The difficulty you have letting go is a sign of how powerful your bonds with your father were, how much you loved each other. They're so strong that they persist, even without him here to renew them. I want you to think about that and consider that same strength will be there for you in other relationships in your life. It will let you do things that you think are impossible. That power will let you overcome tremendous obstacles to keep friendships and family together. I know your grief can seem like a weakness right now, but as time passes, you will begin to learn that it's actually the opposite. You're so much stronger than you realize. For a moment, Freya could almost believe Dr. Garboglio. She wanted to, but the vision was still there. The toppling colossus, the crushing pressure, the distant star burning against her thigh to save her. Without the starball, she would be long gone. The hour was up. really strong note to end on right there. Okay, cool. So we need yeah, so Spethy thinks okay should be capitalized. Let's just look for like the general rule. Thesaurus.com can't save us. Okay. Look, I automatically capitalize it there. Okay is not acceptable because acronyms are acronized. Okay is definitely incorrect. Writing skills. Isn't really okay for more formal context. Okay, uppercase, no full stops. The German only corrector. Okay. Wolof Wei. Wow. The first appearance in print, the Boston Morning Post in 1839, it featured in a satirical article on bad spelling as a humorous abbreviation of all correct. A deliberately misspelled oral correct. So some people prefer to write okay. Many insist it shouldn't be allowed. Fuck off, ad. $100-year head start. It's only the past. Okay, so that's a weird one. So when I worked transcription, we always did okay because it was unambiguous when it was capitalized. Okay. Yeah. How many times a day do each of us say okay? Real gay. But oh yeah, there's that NAD energy kicking in there. I slept enough last night. I think I got like 6 hours. Okay is fine and can be capitalized as a normal word. I'm gonna stick with lowercase for the time being, and then we'll going forward we'll think about it. But yeah, capital OK. I don't like the way that it fucking looks on the page. Yeah, you know, like I like, um, to me, if somebody's saying okay with capitals, like okay, you know, like that kind of okay. But holler at Stratum, Spathiwa, Logic up here. Yeah, and y'all have really been on this journey with me here. I appreciate it there. So an Army veteran had their prosthetic legs repossessed after the VA refuses to pay for them. Wow. Send that guy a copy of the right to fucking bear arms. Actually, hold on. Yeah, like somebody should get up in that story in Reddit and then post about how I wrote a whole fucking book. What do we got here? This fucking book right here. Look at that. The right to bear arms. Ooh, that's fucking amazing. I just happen to have a copy floating right here. But somebody send that dude a fucking copy of that book because that's exactly what it's about. About a military veteran who can't afford prosthetics. I see the future coming. I'm a fucking genius. All right. So chapter 53. Wow. Rough one, huh? How long have we got? We could maybe work through this. Dan met Freya in the parking lot downstairs. She should have made a joke about it, acted like it wasn't that bad. Instead, she crumpled against him, and he hugged her. She held on for as long as she thought she could. Yeah, she managed, reluctantly letting go. Let's get out of here, please. Dan walked around and opened her car door for her. Dan walked around the car and opened her door for her. Normally it would seem kind of corny, but right now she needed anything she could get. Shout out to the Bronx Tale. Thank you, she said, settling into her seat. And when she closed the door, she felt better. When she closed the door, she felt better. Oh, yeah, let's take that out. Like, I like the idea of her, like, shutting a door on the rest of the world, but I don't think we need that. She had only felt good in his car. Nothing inside of here had ever hurt her. What was it, one of his exercises? The shore walk or the ribbon one? The ribbon one. What's the shore walk? I'm not sure if we should talk about it. It might be less effective. I'm not sure if we should talk about it. It might be less effective if you know about it beforehand. I don't want to mess up your treatment. Okay, that's fair, Freya said. I didn't realize he did the same things with everyone. Yeah, we can... That's fair, Freya said. I didn't realize he did the same things with everyone. I think he's kind of like a comedian, where he has a bunch of routines and might pick out the right one or change. He might change. I think he's kind of like a comedian, where he has a bunch of routines he picks from. He might change up his delivery a bit depending on his audience. I remember the ribbon exercise very well. I was messed up for like 3 days after that. Wait, did you see the statue too? Freya was suddenly very excited by the idea. Freya was suddenly excited by the idea Dan might have had the same vision. But instead he looked around the car, thinking she meant an actual statue. Oh, I meant when you were doing the exercise. Did you imagine a big statue? No, nothing like that, he said, looking a bit perplexed. Did you? I kind of zoned out. Mm-hmm. Oh, shoutouts to Alt Universe right there. I can't remember if you've been, I think you've been through here once. There was some Alt character running through here a little bit. Yeah, believe it or not, we're still at it. 37 days later, editing every single day. Whew, still trying. Oh, I kind of zoned out when he had me close my eyes. I sort of had a daydream, she said, backtracking. A colossus, bound in chains. It crashed into the sea and dragged me down with it. Oh, wow. It's intense. I just imagined my sister with the ribbons tied between us. Did he not do the thing where he had you talk about each ribbon, undoing the bow and putting it away? No, it was something totally different. We didn't do that. Wow. Well, maybe it's all less structured than I thought. What was the Colossus like? Freya described the whole scene as they drove. She needed to tell someone. The starball was warm, fighting against her sinking feeling. For the first time, she wondered if there was a battery in it. What would she do if it ran out? Jesus, that's intense. Yeah. Jesus, that's wild, Dan said, pulling into the parking lot of Flying Horse Regional Hospital. Are you cool to go in? He asked. Yes, she said. Yeah, of course, she said, trying to sound surer than she felt. Okay, so we're going to remove this indented centered piece. Yep, second time here. I know. Memory. Yeah, thanks to these blue pills.
Blue pills, golden seals, got bizarre, acting ill.
Okay, so Radomir was in rough shape. He was in a neck brace with deep purple bruises on both sides of his. He was in a neck brace with deep purple bruises on both of his cheekbones, running under a wedge of bandages that covered his nose. Looking at the glossy shiner on his left eye, Freya wondered if things really did come in threes. This was the third black eye. Still, Radomir smiled when he saw them enter. And she didn't see any teeth missing. Brad, Dan, Tate, and Jeanette were already there, along with Radomir's mother. It was crowded in the room. There were cards and flowers clustered all along the wide ledge of the window. Dan stiffened at her side, his hands curled into fists. He was furious. Dan stiffened at her side, his hands curled into fists. He was furious, and she realized she was too. An urge to grasp and tear rippling through her arms. She blinked at the feeling. This wasn't how she got angry. Hers was sharp and quick, where this was slow and searing, with a dangerous sense that it might explode at any time. Was the starball trying to make her mad? She reached into her pocket and felt it was growing warm. There was a... She felt the cool rush, but it was also different. It felt removed. Are you okay? Jeanette asked, and it wasn't clear if she was asking Dan or Freya. Yes, they replied in unison, and everyone paused. I shouldn't have let him run away, Dan said, and Freya felt the guilt behind the anger, a flash of self-disgust that he'd been afraid, and then the calm washed everything away. She was frozen in place, trying to decide if she'd really felt what Dan was feeling or if she'd only imagined it. Even if he'd kicked his ass, he probably would have done some cowardly shit anyway. It might have been worse, Brad offered. Cameron offered, and the hair on Freya's arms was standing up as she listened for an echo of what Dan felt. But the moment was over. Twice my size. He does not even fight me. I was struck from behind. Typic. Lucky for him, he will be in jail when I am free from here. Music, Radomir's mother commanded. Freya saw their eyes meet, the defiance in his eyes throwing sparks against her implacable will. Twice my size. He does not even fight me. I was struck from behind. Typic. Lucky for him, he will be in jail when I am free from here. Music? So we have translations for what these say. Coward. Quiet in Polish. Oh, so they're talking Polish here. Wild. Freya saw their eyes meet, the defiance in Radomir's throwing sparks against his mother's. The room grew silent, and Freya was anxious to break up the awkwardness. Okay, cool. So let's go back a little bit here. So this is like weird. And if you're listening along here, let's see. So yeah, something important is happening here. So we got to get this straight. Dan stiffened at her side, his hands curled into fists. She was furious, and Freya realized she was too. There was an incipient shout building in her throat, an urge to grasp and tear rippling through her arms. She blinked at the feeling. This wasn't how she got angry. Her anger was sharp and quick. Where this was slow and searing, with a dangerous sense that it might explode at any time. Was the starball trying to make her mad? She reached into her pocket and felt it was growing warm. She felt the cool rush again, but it was different, strangely removed. But it felt muted and ineffective, kind of removed. Are you okay? Jeanette asked, and it wasn't clear if she was asking Dan or Freya. Yes, they replied in unison, and everyone paused. I shouldn't have let him run away, Dan said, and Freya felt the guilt behind the anger, a flash of self-disgust that he'd been afraid, and then the calm washed everything away. She was frozen in place. She was locked in place. She wasn't frozen. She was locked in place, trying to decide if she'd really felt what Dan was feeling, or if she'd only imagined it. Even if he'd kicked his ass, he probably would have done some cowardly shit anyway. It might have been worse, Cameron offered, and the hair on Freya's arms was standing up as she listened for an echo of what Dan felt. But the moment was over. She strained, and the hair on Freya's arms was standing up as she strained to feel what Dan did, but the moment was over. Twice my size. He does not even fight me. I was struck from behind. Coward. Lucky for him, he will be in jail when I am free from here. I like that. Yeah, so that Russian accent's a little bit better. What? I brought you something, Freya said. In her bag was a brand new copy of Solaris. She remembered reading Randall's copy, the 1971 UK first edition, with an abstract tidal wave crashing across a cover that had once been pure white. She'd finished it on a rainy afternoon and just stared out the window for a long time afterward, feeling utterly desolate and alone. Radomir accepted the book and thanked her, flipping it over to look at the back cover copy. It's the Polish edition, Radomir said, his voice rising with excitement. Let's go for blurted. Radomir ejaculated. No. Not at this point in the book. Oh, exclaim is what I want. I love the word exclaimed. Ugh, that's fucking amazing. Oh, so happy Friday from Big Hogward right here. Yeah, we got a show tonight. I think I'm doing another AMA on the MK Ultra Discord. And we out here. Hell yeah. So, it's the Polish edition, Radomir exclaimed, his voice rising with excitement. Where did you find it? I had to order it. Freya smiled. You're lucky you can read Polish. There isn't a direct English translation in print. Just a translation first from Polish to French, then to English. It's pretty gruesome. I still really liked it, though. Oh yeah, this is what's really gruesome is that this sentence reads like it's a translation from English to French to Polish to English. It's awful. You're lucky you can read Polish. There isn't a direct English translation in print. Mm-hmm. I had to order it. Freya beamed at his response. You're lucky you can read Polish. There isn't a direct English translation in print. I had to read a copy that was doubly translated. First from Polish to French, then from French to English. It was pretty gruesome, but still an amazing book. I hope you enjoy this one. Let me know how you like it. Thank you, Radomir said. Thank you, Radomir said. Mm-hmm. Radomir held the book in both hands as he thanked her. She knew she'd picked the right gift. Radomir and his mother were suddenly chattering back and forth excitedly in Polish. The tension between them vanished. He handed the book to his mother, and she turned it over in her hands, holding it at arm's length so she could read the back. Okay, so it's yeah, that character is farsighted and needs to like hold the book out like this to be able to read it, but it wasn't clear in the text right there. So we just made that little addition there. It is like a neat little thing that like I think adds to the reality of that old character, but definitely I don't. I think I was trying to be understated before, and it just didn't work out that well. I read this in school at your same age. I've thought of it many times since. This is a marvelous gift. She was smiling widely, and Freya was suddenly uncomfortable from all the attention. She noticed a despairing look on Jeanette's face, and at once made the connection that some of the flowers had surely come from her. Mm-hmm. Rathomir's mother was smiling widely, and Freya was suddenly uncomfortable from all the attention. She noticed a despairing look on Jeanette's face, and at once made the connection that some of these flowers had surely come from her. With a note of regret, Freya wished she had thought to give the book to Jeanette so she could claim the idea for her own. Jeanette needed all the help she could get. The visit went on until they could all see Radomir was fading. It clearly took an effort to keep his eyes open. There was a catch in his voice as he thanked them all for coming. Freya's eyes were damp, and she wasn't the only one. The air hummed with a kind of warm camaraderie, and again she had the echoing sensation of feeling more than just herself. She found Dan's hand and gave it a squeeze. His eyes met hers, and for a moment there was nothing else but that contact. She could not distinguish her hand from his, and didn't need to. They all made their way out of the room, and Radomir's mother wouldn't let anyone pass until she'd swept them up in a fierce hug. The friends walked to the parking lot, shrouded in a solemn quiet until they stepped outside of the hospital. Freya took the chance to walk alongside Jeanette. Raspberry Tim Tams are his favorite cookie. They have them at Harper's on Bridge Street, Freya offered. Oh, thank you, Jeanette said, understanding the gesture at once. That book was so thoughtful. I didn't even know he knew Polish. It's his first language. Both of his parents are Polish. I think he was in Kiev until he was 8, and they moved to Moscow. He speaks French as well. They have family in Cologne. Jeanette's eyes were bright as they absorbed everything Freya told her. Freya was sure. Okay, so we have to go back because I'm pretty sure I put him in the Czech Republic before. And then, so thought something is missing from... I really like that dynamic too of her being like, I should have given the book to her. It's like a nice thing for this character to think, even though she kind of came with a gift that was showing her up and everything. Let me see. He speaks French as well. They have family in Cologne. Jeanette's eyes were bright as she absorbed everything Freya told her. Freya was sure Jeanette could listen to her talk about Radomir all night. She would gladly listen to Freya. Jeanette's eyes were bright as she absorbed everything Freya told her. She would gladly listen to Freya talk about Radomir all night, but Freya didn't want to stoke the fire of misguided hope. Betty, Jane, and Freya had each made the same mistake with the same outcome. I'm so sorry for everything that happened to you. It must have been an awful week, Jeanette said, dropping her voice. Freya was struck by the thought. From the outside, it really had been an awful week, but at this moment she didn't feel any of it. Nothing had stuck to her. Well, it hasn't all been bad, Freya said, tilting her head towards Dan with a grin, and Jeanette smiled back. He really likes you, Jeanette confided. I'm in 3 classes with him. I don't think he's stopped smiling since Sunday. It's super cute. Freya felt a sudden warmth against the night air. Her cheeks were hot. It was such a relief to hear confirmation from someone else. Her thoughts were such a confusing swirl. So Hogard is getting, we're getting a nasty ice storm this weekend, so if I never hear from him again, know that I died clutching your books under candlelight. Oh, that's beautiful right there. Burn those books for warmth. They're just words. I can get more books. But yeah, stay strong. Actually, is that ice storm supposed to hit fucking New York? Should I be buying like canned goods or something like that? There's like nothing up in here. Yeah, but definitely stay safe, Hogard. It was such a relief to hear confirmation from someone else. Jeanette was covering her smile with her palm, looking delighted. Freya couldn't help but laugh. She was really starting to like Jeanette. She was always trying so hard, really making an effort. She never pretended she didn't care. She never tried to act cooler than she was or pretended she didn't care. It was one of the things Freya loved about Betty. The boys had gotten ahead of them, and something Dan said made Take start laughing so hard he was snorting. They hurried to rejoin the pack. Okay, so here, this is just like a feel-good, happy chapter. Happy chapter. And I think part of the reason why is this like happy chapter is we're trying to shore up after this long, we're really like taking a dark plunge here. We might consider 52 there. Okay, so cool. The chapter numbers are right. 52. 52 is a long fucking chapter. 53. New York is all clear from the look of it. The storm isn't trying to get mugged. Yeah, we get shielded by that old ocean from time to time. Twice my size. So I really like this chapter. Just in terms of, sometimes we just can't keep clubbing people with things are sad. Things are sad. So this is like one of the first chapters in a while where it's just good vibes for everybody. And not like just saccharine good vibes, because you can see there's some missteps and like there's tension between Radomir and his mother, and people feel guilty for whatever. And we have like a little bit of, whoa, is that the Starball weirdness and everything? But it's just, let's take a fucking break and things are chill. So we're going to stop here at chapter 54, I believe, because it's another romance chapter. And I want to give Spaethiwa time to fucking put on his chastity cage before we work on this chapter. Also, it's I don't think I have another chapter in me, to tell you the truth. I'm like very sore from I thought lifting weights would make me smarter, but it's sapping my energon. It's a relatively short chapter this time, but I think a big part of it is we understand that we're going to need to read through this colossal chapter 52 again. And next time I want to do a read through of the entire chapter. Generally, Saturday mornings, like after a show, we don't get much editing of new chapters done. We're much more all about rehashing other chapters, just because I'm like usually pretty fucked up after like staying up all night for the show and I can't sleep long enough. So I might try taking like Benadryl or something like that after the show tomorrow night and trying to end strictly at midnight. And we'll see how that works out for me. So I want to say that we did good work here, boys. Had a few really good edits, specifically from Spaethiwa, and a hell of a zinger right there. I still remember that's what she said and everything. So thank you guys for this. If you're about to be murked by an ice storm, stay alive. We need you. And I think we're closer and closer to that halfway mark. 37 days, 37 dicks. We've done it. So thank you all for coming through. Love you. Bye.